1. Yo, what is good, folks? It's your boy Sports PSP. Welcome to another episode of the Sports PSP podcast. I got my boy BRF Sports here with me tonight. How you doing, brother?
Can't complain, sir. Life is pretty good. And first week back at work, getting back in the swing of things, but I can't complain. It went pretty well. I cannot complain how things are going right now. I'm a little jealous of Champ though because he's at the Benz, so I'm a little jealous. No, because it's funny though, because not only is he at the Benz, but on his Facebook he posted that he's got Super Show tickets for the WWE, and then on top of that he's saying he's trying to get the Bad Blood tickets. So I'm like, bruh. I got to do something. Out, man. If me and him could both scoop up Bad Blood tickets, I'm telling you, we're gonna have to link up and do some TikTok posts or something like straight up.
Y'all gonna have to figure out a way, man. And that's why Undisputed Champ, is not here tonight, folks. He's spending some time enjoying the Atlanta Falcons game. A lot of things to look forward to for the Atlanta Falcons, some of the moves that they've made this season. ATL, you better start showing some love to the ATL Falcons. They're going to have a great season. They should win the division. There should be absolutely no excuse whatsoever not to win the division. You got Kirk Cousins. Okay, they drafted Michael Penix Jr., although I thought they should have drafted Dallas Turner, but they're thinking about their future. And when you look at what they did on the defensive side, you got Justin Simmons, AJ Terrell, with Jesse Bates. This defense, and they had a great defense last year. So this is a team that can easily win the division. And with Michael Penix Jr., depending on how he develops his game, they have a future to compete for the NFC Championship. But that's in the years to come, not for right now. But I hope for Kirk Cousins he stays healthy and everything else. And we got a comment from our man Undisputed World Champ. Thank you, Champ. Congratulations on 12K PSP live from the Georgia Dome. Shout out to Undisputed World Champ. Please go check out his podcast and go check him out on Instagram, TikTok. Does a lot of great content. BRF, I wanted to talk to you about Tua. He did an interview on the Dan Le Batard show, and he said some things about his former coach, Brian Flores. This is what he said. If you woke up every morning and I told you that you suck at what you did, that you don't belong, what you do, that you shouldn't be here, that this guy should be here, that you haven't earned this right, and then you have somebody else come in and tell you, dude, you are the best fit for this. How would it make you feel listening to one or the other? He was explaining the difference between Brian Flores' coaching style compared to his current head coach, Mike McDaniels. Brian Flores decided to take the high note. He said basically that he said, I'm genuinely happy for the success that Tua has had, and I'm really wishing him nothing but the best. What were your thoughts about what Brian Flores said? And there was one more comment that he said regarding that. He said, look, I'm human, so that hit me in a way that wasn't positive for me, but at the same time, I've got to use that and say, hey, how can I grow from that? How can I be better? And that's really where I'm at from the standpoint. Do I feel like that's me? No, but how can I grow from that situation and create a world where that's not the case, that anyone says that about Brian Flores? What were your thoughts about what Tua said about Brian Flores? Were you shocked at all?
Even with the fact that Tua wasn't really who Brian Flores wanted in Miami, I'm still kind of shocked because, because you got to look at it from Tua's perspective too. I mean, when he was in college football at his peak, he was the bona fide lock, #1 overall draft pick, best player in college football. I mean, you would see him on Saturdays at Alabama, regardless of how stacked that offense around him was, regardless. When you saw him throw the ball, it was like, oh, he was just carving people up. He was destroying people. And then he gets to Miami Okay, so it wasn't Brian Flores' first pick. It doesn't matter. You still landed Tua Tagovailoa. I mean, do something with him. Build the team. You can build a team around him. And it's still a little shocking to me because I mean Brian Flores. I mean, he has a reputation. He has a reputation of being a high character guy. You know, players like to play for him, and you don't expect. You're not really expecting nothing like that to really come out his mouth. So it is kind of shocking. But I will say this though, regardless of coaching styles, the Miami Dolphins are practically still the same team because I found this stat. Those 2 years Brian Flores was there before he left Miami, before they let him go, they won 19 games. They've only won 20. They've only won one more game, 20 games in Mike McDaniel's first 2 years. So I mean, it's like okay, Mike McDaniel's does show you a little more love. He treats you like the guy, but you only have one more win these 2 seasons. So I mean, it's like, and that was the thing though. It was almost like they were. I don't know. I kind of felt like they were trying to get rid of Brian Flores or something like that. I don't know, but it's like no matter what they tried to do when he was there, it's like Miami just found a way to win games, regardless of whether they were like a legit team or not. They found a way to beat people. So those comments were a little shocking coming from him. But yeah, like I mean, I get he wasn't this guy. He wasn't necessarily fond of him. And also with Brian Flores being a defensive guy, Mike McDaniel's being more of an offensive coach. Of course, Mike McDaniel's is gonna kind of like see a vision with Tua being able to operate his offense, what he's bringing from San Francisco under Kyle Shanahan, bringing putting his tweaks into it, putting his style on it. And I mean, you've seen Miami these 2 years. I mean, regardless of late game decision making, regardless of how questionable some of Mike McDaniel's decisions have been in late games, when that offense is clicking, they're one of the scariest offenses in football when they're clicking, and it's predicated on how they run the ball. It's like, especially particularly with last year with Raheem Mostert having a bounce back year and Devin Achane just coming out of nowhere and lighting people up. Like he'll have these ridiculous like 12, 13 carry, 150-yard kind of games because he'll bust two to the house and that's game right there. So I mean, it's just I don't know. You don't know how to react to it. But at the same time, you hope from Brian Flores' perspective if he said these things, and I wouldn't take Tua to be a guy that's gonna like exaggerate things like that. You hope that he does grow from this because I mean, right now, you hope he grows from this, becomes a better person for this, better, be a better coach and understand that, if you're saying stuff, you can't necessarily always say stuff like this, especially if you're a head coach. I mean, you have to be a leader of men. You're massaging egos as a head coach. You're not necessarily always going to be the ones as far as like calling plays, calling schemes, directing this, directing that. That's what you got offensive and defensive coordinators for. They're the ones doing the most of the dissecting and the analyzing. You're there. You're there for that added support. You're there for your knowledge as well, but at the same time, you're there. You're dealing with grown men. You're dealing with grown men who make a lot of money every week, who got their own problems at the house. So, I mean, hopefully he kind of takes this and kind of, yeah, like he said in his own comment, just grow and be better off of this. So, like I said, I've always been a fan of Brian Flores. I think he's a hell of a coach. I definitely always thought he was a hell of a defensive coordinator. So I mean, hopefully he just takes this and grow from it and just keep it going. And as for Tua, just kind of keep doing what you're doing because at the end of the day, you're trying to get. I mean, you were trying to get a new contract yourself, and you got it. So now you gotta continue to show Miami that they were right for keeping you and bringing a guy like Mike McDaniel in to build around you. So from both sides, they just got to keep growing from this, and they just got to keep moving forward because ultimately that's what matters at the end of the day is just growing as a person.
To be honest with you, BRF, I wasn't surprised at all to have made those comments.
Hmm.
And look, to your point, you mentioned about Brian Flores not being to his guy. It was reported that Brian Flores wanted Justin Herbert. The Dolphins
Mhm.
decided to go with Tua Tagovailoa. And Brian Flores, from that standpoint, looks absolutely right. No disrespect to Tua, but Miami, they would go much farther if they had Justin Herbert at quarterback than Tua Tagovailoa. What Tua said, Tua still has a lot to prove. He still has a lot to show, considering the fact that he's not known for being available because of his durability issues. He had that since college. And not only that, the contract that he recently got. So with this contract, can Tua maximize his time in Miami? But at the same time, Brian Flores, if this is true to what Tua alluded to, that could be a reason as to why you were fired from Miami. Because even though you were winning, it comes down to you or Tua. And Miami decided to go forward with Tua and move on from you. Because if it's a coach or a quarterback, normally they're going to keep the quarterback and they're going to move on from the coach. And you brought up Mike McDaniel, who comes from the Kyle Shanahan coaching tree. He was the former offensive coordinator there. Look at what he's done for Miami. You added the running game. They've also added Tyreek Hill. They also added Jalen Waddle. You're seeing Tua grow and evolve as a quarterback and as a player. Last year, he led the NFL in passing yards, made the Pro Bowl, was able to stay healthy for the most part this season, get the Dolphins to the playoffs. They did lose to the Kansas City Chiefs. Tua still has a lot to show, a lot to prove. But at the same time, Brian Flores, if this is true to what Tua alluded to, it does give credence as to why you were let go. From an organizational standpoint, they wanted to move on from you because you weren't Tua's type of guy. And even if you weren't his type of guy, still, at the end of the day, that is a man. That is a human being at the end of the day. So if you're telling him you suck and all this other stuff, how are you helping his confidence? How are you helping him as far as maximizing his potential? If this is true. So I think it looks bad for Brian Flores. And look, he does come from the Bill Belichick coaching tree. And we've seen coaches, BRF, from the Bill Belichick coaching tree that haven't panned out well. Josh McDaniels. We saw what happened with Josh McDaniels. Matt Patricia, Joe Judge, Romeo Crennel, Bill O'Brien. It's been a train wreck. Brian Flores, look, I'm glad that Brian Flores said what he said. He's looking at what he needs to do in order to prove, in order to change the perception. Hopefully he does that now that he's the defensive coordinator in Minnesota. And but what he said, if this is true, what he said about Tua, that explains why you left. That explains why Miami moved on from you.
Right.
Because look, if you're saying that about the quarterback, if you're saying that about the quarterback, imagine what you're saying to anybody else. If you feel that cold, if you feel that confident and bold saying that to your quarterback, to which the franchise drafted him with the 5th overall pick, then imagine what you could be saying to somebody else. So I hope for Tua. Tua still has a lot to prove. He still has a lot to show. But if this is true, it does explain why Brian Flores was fired. It does put it into perspective from my standpoint. Is there anything more you want to add?
Yeah. Yeah. I definitely see where you're coming from. Because it definitely. I mean, regardless of how you feel about Brian Flores, I mean, it definitely validates Miami's decision to roll with Tua. And I mean, yeah, like you said, 9 times out of 10, a situation like that, they're going to roll with the quarterback anyway, because at the end of the day, they're investing a lot of money in that quarterback, and it's the it's the quarterback who they want as the guy to help elevate that franchise. And we know with a team like Miami, they really haven't. I would say probably semi-relevancy. They've had some decent seasons mixed in there. It's like when they're good, but then when they're bad, they're really bad. So yeah, so he being the current DC at Minnesota, he's just gotta He's got to learn from this. He's got to learn from this, and he's got to keep going because he really had an opportunity there in Miami, just winning games he shouldn't have won and just being competitive, and he really had an opportunity to do some things there, and just if that's true, he definitely kind of mess it up on his own accord. You really can't say stuff like that to your franchise quarterback and expect the front office to roll with you at the end of the day. Especially if they know they can go out and get another coach, an offensive minded coach who can, properly build around Tua and kind of, help him evolve as a player, which is ultimately what you want for Tua at the end of the day, is evolve as a player. So this definitely validates him if he came out and said what he said, but Brian Flores just got to learn from it and keep going.
Yeah. And hopefully he does learn from it. But do you think you'll ever see him as a head coach in the NFL again, Brian Flores?
It's possible. The team it's got to be one of those situations where the team is like wanting to move in the direction of a defensive minded, head coach. I mean, I think it's still going to be a while though. I don't think it's going to be immediate. It's possible. I'm just not sure at the moment. These comments coming out definitely hurt his chances because another franchise might be iffy to trust them with their quarterback if he could say that to his. So I think the possibility is there, but there's a little bit of damage control there. There's a little bit of repair that he needs to do, especially if this stuff is true. And like I said, I don't take Tua to be the type to really exaggerate things like that.
I don't think Tua. Yeah, I mean Tua. He seemed very confident and seemed very honest with what he said in that interview with Dan Le Batard. But I wasn't really that shocked or surprised at all. Tua is now with a different head coach. He's moved on from Brian Flores. So now that he's moved on from Brian Flores, and now where he's at in his life, he feels like he could say whatever he wants. And look, if people are going to have a problem with what Tua said, look, he was asked that question. And he gave you an honest answer. He told you his side of the truth. So you can't get mad at him for that. If what he's saying, though.
No, exactly. Especially when us as fans, we want our athletes to be candid. We want our athletes to be honest. We want our athletes to express themselves and be true to themselves. So yeah, you definitely can't get mad at him for saying nothing like this, because then it's like, okay, well, what do you expect these athletes to do? You want them to be honest. He's being honest. You can't get mad at him.
All right, let's just continue on with the NFL, man. What were your thoughts about Washington trading Jahan Dotson to the Philadelphia Eagles?
The hell are they thinking? The hell are they thinking? Not just, I mean, it's like, for me, it's twofold. And we kind of talked about this a little bit before we went on. And you made a good point. You traded him in division to the Philadelphia Eagles, a team that doesn't need any more help, a team that's already the favorites to win the NFC East. They don't need help. And you gave them a bona fide number two who they're going to slide in the slot because they have two receivers better than him, and A.J. Brown and Devontae Smith. I mean, and this is coming off of acquiring Saquon Barkley in the offseason. You have a top 6 tight end in football in Dallas Goedert. I mean, they didn't need no help. They didn't need any more help. And you gave them some help. And I say it's twofold because unless you can pull off getting Brandon Ayuk from the San Francisco 49ers, this was stupid. This almost defeats the purpose of making Jaden Daniels your QB1 if you're going to be trading his targets away. What's the point? You need your rookie quarterback to come in, develop chemistry with all his receivers to be as comfortable as possible, getting ready to lead this team in the 2024 season, and you're getting ready and you're trading his targets? Like, what are we doing? And it's not like Washington, it's not like they're going to be terrible on offense. I mean, they have weapons. They have Terry McLaurin, who's one of the most underrated wide receivers in the National Football League. You add Austin Eckler to Brian Robinson, who was really starting to break out the second half of 2023, was really starting to come into his own, getting the bulk of the touches, even though he was sharing them with Antonio Gibson at the time. who's an underrated player in his own right. So I don't know. It's just I don't know what Washington's thinking, because I'm of the belief with Brandon Ayuk, he's either going to Pittsburgh or he's staying in San Francisco. That I'm of the belief for that. So Washington, they better have some type of plan up their sleeve, because if they don't land Brandon Ayuk, I don't know what they're going to do with the wide receiver position outside of Terry McLaurin. Well, Curtis Samuel's still there, isn't he?
No, I don't think so.
Okay.
They have De'Ami Brown.
Yeah, that's right. De'Ami Brown, that's right. Sorry. He slides in as the number 2. That's right. And
Well,
he's
overall, this is a horrible move on the part of Washington.
I
This is a
agree.
horrible move because, first of all, even if you were trying to pull off to get any wide receiver, even if no, this was a terrible move on the part of Washington. First of all, you trade him of all teams to the Philadelphia Eagles. Of all teams. Of all teams. Now the Eagles, they're loaded. They already they have Jalen Hurts. They have Saquon Barkley. They have AJ Brown. They have Devontae Smith. Now with Jahan Dotson, who, by the way, isn't he from Penn State?
Oh yeah, he's a Penn State guy.
So I'll tell you this: they're like the Philadelphia Eagles right now. Either they're the Georgia Bulldogs or the Philadelphia Nittany Lions, because Howie
Right.
Roseman, for some reason, he pulls off all these moves. I don't know what he does, but he pulls it off, man. I'm I'm losing it. And for Washington, Terry McLaurin is our number 1 wide receiver, obviously, of course. But what do you say to Jaden Daniels? Unless you tell me we're getting Brandon Ayuk, and I don't think that's going to happen. I do not
Mhm.
think that is going to happen. What are you doing? I mean, you traded Chase Young, not mad at that. But you traded Montez Sweat. I'm mad at that. Honestly, for me, I'd rather go forward with Montez Sweat than Chase Young. You know why? Because he's durable. He can get after the quarterback. He's long. He's athletic. He has talent. And he came off a great season last season in which he made the Pro Bowl and eventually got his money. Washington made another bad move in the draft, drafting Emmanuel Forbes over Christian Gonzalez. Oh, by the way, they couldn't even draft a tight end, which I advocated for them to draft Darnell Washington from your school, UGA, and they couldn't do that. So to me, they're not getting Brandon Ayuk. Washington is known for disaster and turmoil, and I can't stand this team because it's just a damn embarrassment. Unless you tell me they're going to trust the process because Josh Harris is a part of Philadelphia 76ers, unless you could pull that off, hey, by all means. But this is shit. Basura, garbage.
Well,
This is
well,
just
hell,
pathetic on the
well,
part of
hell,
Washington. Pardon me for my language, folks, but this is utter bullshit that Washington pulled off this trade. I'm giving this a flat out F because
bro,
yet again,
bro.
Washington is trying to sell us that we're going to change, and it tells me it's going to take a while in order for the Commanders to actually do something. The only thing we finally done was got rid of Dan Snyder. Now we have Josh Harris and we have Magic Johnson. No.
Well, I mean, I feel like
Last couple of years, no. Not
I
that.
feel like I feel like this though, man. If they're trying that whole trust the process thing like the Philadelphia 76ers, you got to think the Philadelphia 76ers hadn't even made the Eastern Conference Finals yet. So I definitely don't trust them to do anything in Washington with the roster they got right now.
I ain't
So
trusting them with Jack.
I'm telling you,
We got our boy Kieran in the building. What's up, Kieran? How you doing, man?
How we doing, guys?
Good, man. We just talking about the Jahan Dotson trade. What were your thoughts about that?
Um, I don't care. I don't care if you're a second-year player. I don't care if you're like a 12-year veteran. Like that guy from Philly is gonna try to trade for you, and I don't know why Washington would do this, because Jahan Dotson's in his third year, like going into his third year, and obviously the only way he's going to get better if he plays, and he's probably not even going to play that much in Philly because their offensive talent is just so ridiculous. But hey, if like one of those guys going to go down, like Devontae Smith or AJ Brown, like I think Jahan Dotson for a game or two can be really good. So it's a win. It's a win for Philly, but an L for the Commanders. I have no idea what they're doing over there. Like, are they just like trying to get like is Terry next? Like, honestly, because
That's what they're trying to do. I think they're trying to get rid of all their players so that they can draft and develop other younger players. But what are they selling?
yeah, I
I
just don't
mean,
like. They just got Jahan Dotson like 2 years ago. I don't get it. Like, I get
And I thought
Terry
that
because
was and I thought that was
Terry
one of the
right now is
steals of
probably
the
has way
draft too.
better value. Like, I don't get it. I really don't.
it doesn't make sense. It doesn't make sense. And our defense, we thought we were going to try to get Ben Johnson from the Detroit Lions. We ended up getting Dan Quinn. I don't mind Dan Quinn as a head coach and what he can do on the defensive side, but we don't have defensive playmakers. Our best players on the defensive side are Jonathan Allen, Duron Payne. We
And
have
that's
Bobby
it.
Wagner, who's past his prime.
Oh,
No DBs. We drafted Emmanuel Forbes over Christian Gonzalez. And the last time we saw Emmanuel Forbes going up against A.J. Brown, what ended up happening? Over 100 yards receiving and 2 touchdowns in each game.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, to kind of get a little bit off of Emmanuel Forbes, AJ Brown was cooking a lot of people last year, so I can't hold that completely against him. AJ Brown cooked last year.
No,
but
but
I wanted Christian Gonzalez
problem is
over Forbes because he was more physical.
I think the problem is that you're putting like Emmanuel Forbes is like 5'9", like 170 pounds on a freaking 230 freaking tank. Like, I just don't get it. On an island, like, I just don't get it.
It seems like when we take one step for Commanders fans, we take one step forward, we take 5 steps back. We finally got rid of Ron Rivera. We finally got rid of Dan Snyder, who, in my opinion, is one of, if not the worst owners in football.
Yeah, he's one of the worst owners ever.
We still have one of the crappiest ass stadiums in FedEx Field. It's still crappy to this day. Don't get me started.
Bro, everything it's bad. Like, the jerseys are bad. Like, no offense, I don't like the jerseys.
They are bad. They're trash. Basura.
Bro, that football field is a graveyard for body parts and ligaments and tendons and all types of stuff.
And it seems like every like washed linebacker just wants to go there. They did it with Thomas Davis Sr. too. Like, oh my god. But
it's a dumpster fire. But for the Eagles, this is a great trade because you get Jahan Dotson. He's going to be their number 3. And to BRF's point, he's going to play more in the slot because of AJ and Devontae. For the Eagles, you got to at least get to the NFC Championship game. As for the Commanders, trust the process? Is that what you're going to do?
It's going to be a long process.
Because you do not have a football player on that team equivalent to a Joel Embiid in the NBA. So yeah, I don't even want to call that a process. I want to call that a journey.
You know what I'm gonna have to do? I know DC is Chocolate City. Fuck, I'm probably gonna have to go to Atlanta and probably go to Magic City. That's what I'm gonna have to do.
Yeah, just go to Disneyland.
I'm gonna have to do something. I promise. Listen, I've been trying my best to cut back on alcohol and all this other stuff. But damn it, after that trade, I had to get me an Angry Orchard.
Well, I'll tell you this though. Hey, I mean, like I said, me being in Georgia, I've never been in that place myself, but I'll just say this: you don't necessarily have to rush down here. You ain't got to let the women. You don't have to come in here and let the women dance your pain away. I'm pretty sure there's other stuff that you that you could probably do.
I'm not gonna lie. I feel bad for Jonathan Allen and Deron Payne. Like I
Oh
really do.
God.
Like
You
Jonathan
saw his
Allen.
press conference last year after that loss to the Giants. Imagine what he's going to say now.
That was one of my favorite moments of last year when Jonathan Allen just absolutely just snapped. That was one of my favorite moments of the year.
It's unfortunate because I feel like Jonathan Allen is getting like the Derek Brown treatment in Panthers. Like no one's gonna talk about him because of what team they're on, and it's unfortunate.
They're both being wasted.
And it's unfortunate because both of them are elite at the position. And I'm not high on Deron Payne, but he's a very good number 2 defensive tackle. But like, it's just like unfortunate like that it's happening to these players because that defense is just not good around them. And I don't know what Jane Daniels is going to do because one, the O-line is so bad. Yeah, you got Terry, but they barely fucking use him anyway. Like, and like, it's bad in Washington right now.
Oh, let me tell you something. If it wasn't for the fact that we had David Onyemata here, besides Grady Jarrett, I'd be pushing for that Jonathan Allen to Atlanta trade hard, hard. If David Onyemata wasn't here,
I mean, if the Falcons had Jonathan Allen, you guys would probably be elite defense. Like, and you guys were top 10 last year. So,
well, actually, Champ was trying to get Deron Payne. He was advocating for the Falcons to get Deron Payne, but Washington just eventually gave him the money. But to your point, guys, look, Washington, it's just going to be a long ass season for all the wrong reasons, and for Commanders fans, pray for 2025. That's all I'm gonna say.
You guys should be hoping for the number 1 pick. Like,
I hope maybe we'll hopefully draft offensive linemen, some defensive linemen. That's what we need for Washington.
Next year looks like a very, very defensive loaded draft. Next year would not surprise me at all if a defensive player went number 1 overall. It would not shock me next year.
I agree because the quarterbacks are not that good not coming out.
I think I feel like the only quarterback coming out that's going to be worthy of the number 1 overall draft pick if he plays well is maybe Carson Beck. But outside of that, it's going to be a defensive draft.
Even that, like Carson Ben's ceiling, it's not great. Like I think it's gonna be mostly offensive linemen, mostly defensive like players in the top 10. Like that's what I think.
Agree. I agree too. Like I said, I think it wouldn't shock me if a defensive player went number 1 overall. It just wouldn't shock me next year.
And honestly, if there's one year that Washington should be bad, it should be this year because you already got Jaden Daniels, so you got him for a couple years at least.
Exactly.
So.
Yeah, but I'm afraid though. Look what happened with Robert Griffin III. They drafted him number 2 overall, who won a Heisman, and without an offensive line. And my concern with Jaden Daniels, can he survive in the NFL? Because he's barely over 200 pounds.
Yeah, I think the only difference with RG3 is that Mike Shanahan made a dumb decision to play him in a playoff game. Like, that was stupid, but yeah.
Either Mike Shanahan, but RG3 wanted to play as well. Yeah, but that's the competitor in him, so I can't knock him for that. And then the following year, it was reported that they wanted to change the offense, and RG3 wanted to be a pocket passer like Peyton Manning, and that wasn't going to work.
Oh yeah, hell no.
So Washington, pray for Washington. But anyway, guys, let's continue on with the NFL, particularly with the preseason. Kieran, I'm gonna let you go first. Was there anything that you saw that kind of shocked you or surprised you or something that really stood out to you?
It's really been Bo Nix. I've been watching Bo Nix like this entire preseason. He's not like played like absolutely amazing because he's doing everything that like he's supposed to be doing. He's supposed to be the check down guy. He's been doing really good at that. He's shown outside of the pocket he's actually like competent. I know it's like preseason, so it shouldn't really matter. But I actually watched Anthony Richardson last night. A lot of people are giving him a lot of hate. I know, and again, it's the preseason. I don't want to overreact, but that first drive he had, he was lighting it up. like absolutely lighting it up. He's giving it to Alex Pierce, like all these guys. He looked competent as a passer, and yeah, like he had some inaccurate throws after that, but I'm telling you, if Anthony Richardson can clean up those mistakes, he's going to be a problem in this league. So, yeah.
BRF.
Yeah, I kind of got to. I haven't watched a whole lot of the preseason, but what I've seen, I pretty much got to echo with what Kieran was saying about Bo Nix. Like, I don't know. Saying he played the best in Denver isn't exactly the highest bar. We consider you got Jarrett Stidham and Zach Wilson as your other two quarterbacks, but nonetheless, Bo Nix has been pretty impressive. Like he's led a lot of scoring drives. He's shown accuracy. He's shown, because I mean he's always been able to run. I mean we've known that about Bo. He can run, but his accuracy on this level has kind of surprised me so far. It's been pretty good, and I'm seeing Denver go with him as the number one out the gate kind of shocked me, because I honestly God was thinking I don't know why I was thinking this. I was thinking Zach Wilson was going to find his way into that number one spot. But I'm happy and I'm relieved that it is Bo Nix, to be honest with you, because I at least with him being a rookie, you can at least kind of, if you want to name him as a QB1, you trot him out there, you see what he offers you. And I Lord, shout out to Brandon from the block, because he's got this Bo Nix crush all of a sudden. So shout out to him. Shout out to him. Oh my God. Shout out to him.
You know he loves himself from Oregon. You know he loves himself from Oregon. Anytime, whenever you play from Oregon, he's gonna give you some love.
Oh yeah, boy. I mean, and it's understandable though, because if Oregon's gonna do one thing, it's gonna score, because they always have one of the more fun offenses to watch in college football. So if they're gonna do anything, they might not stop a nosebleed, but they're gonna score 40 on you if nothing else.
Not to mention they got them fly uniforms.
Easily the best. Easily the best. I mean, how unfair is that they got Nike back? Nike backing them. I mean, Phil Knight is an Oregon alum. I mean, how unfair is that you pretty much got the key to the castle as far as like being able to get them fire uniforms. Like, I mean, they go through like 10 different combinations of the year, and they're all always fire. Like, they're never ugly, and that'd be ticking me off being a Georgia fan. Like being as repetitive as we are in our uniform choices. Like, I mean, we get the blackout unis every once in a while, and then there's the what the recruits were posing in, the white unis with the white helmet. I swear to God, I hope they pull those out one year for a game. Those are some of the most fire uniforms I've ever seen. But going back on topic, for me it's Bo Nix and his ability to lock down the number one spot in Denver, and just kind of want to see where he goes. And I was definitely pleased with his play. Like I said, and on Brandon's podcast, I still predicted Denver to be fourth. I don't expect a whole lot from him, but if you don't have the most talented roster, at least go with the draft pick and just see what you got with him. See if he can kind of evolve, and see if he can elevate the people around him. So. For me, it's Bo Nix.
You know what's really funny about like the Broncos and Sean Payton? He's never had a season under 7 wins, so we'll see what happens.
Yeah, exactly.
And, I gotta talk about. I know it's the preseason, but I saw, because y'all know Kieran and I, we live in Jersey. I saw a little bit of the Giants Texans game. Mm-hmm. Daniel Jones was just that bad. He was bad.
He was shockingly more bad than usual.
Man, I've made 2 recent Daniel Jones videos. I made the one with the girl talking about all the quarterbacks getting these contracts and how none of them deserved the money they got, and trying to talk about how Daniel Jones at $40 million was a steal. And I had to correct that narrative real quick. If anybody feels Daniel Jones at $40 million is a steal, there's a reason why you don't coach. There's a reason why you're not a general manager. Just stop talking now. And it's just like, and then the Tiki Barber video where he was talking about, I would take, most people would agree with me. I would take Daniel Jones over Dak Prescott 100 times out of 100. And I stitched, and I ain't even say a word. Man, let me tell you something. I stitched that video. I didn't say one word. I just gave you that look like, shut up, Tiki. Just shut up. We come on. We get you were giant. We get you ride or die for your organization. But don't lie to the general public like that. Even you know better than that. Like, come on, man. Daniel
I don't
Jones
know
is
about
trash.
that, man. I don't know about that. Remember what he used to say about Eli back in the day?
He did not like Eli. Did not
He
like.
couldn't stand him. He couldn't stand him.
Uh,
Couldn't stand him.
Daniel like
Go ahead, Kieran.
Daniel Jones is just so like. I knew that 1 year was a fluke. Like I knew it because they simplified the offense so he wouldn't have to be a freaking gunslinger and throw like so many interceptions.
And
Like
the defense carried him.
and the defense, yeah, the defense was good. Saquon was obviously great, and then like people the next year they project like, oh, they might win 10 games or 11 because they get Darren Waller. Like Saquon's coming back, and Daniel Jones just turned into an egg. Like I don't know what. Like he's just not good. Like he's terrible pocket presence, not that accurate. He has good arm, give him that. He's pretty mobile, but he's
He's
terrible.
late when he's late with his reads.
Like it's bad. He's just bad. Like he's bad. Like I never thought Daniel Jones was a franchise quarterback. Never.
I never did either.
Like
But
even
again,
in
that's
that
on the Giants. Why
even in
would you
that
draft him with the 6th overall pick? Did you draft him because he went to Duke and who worked with Cutcliffe, who worked with the Mannings, and that's the reason why?
Oh, that draft pick smelled of nepotism.
Oh yeah, 100%. Dave Gettleman had a big part in that because he really liked Daniel Jones for whatever reason. Yeah, like Eli Manning liked him. The Mannings like all liked him. Yeah, that's basically what nepotism gives you. And I was shocked that he went over Dwayne Haskins. But
Oh my God. I was shocked in that draft. I was shocked Dwayne Haskins dropped as far as he did. And man, just God rest his soul. Man, I was shocked. I was shocked he dropped as far as he did.
I think he went like 16th, 17th to Washington.
Yeah, he did.
Yeah.
And it's unfortunate, like rest in peace. Like it's unfortunate. But like
that's on the Giants though. They didn't pick up Daniel Jones' 5th-year option, and you paying him $40 million per year.
Yeah, it's bad. And like the Giants are really stuck because they have a really good defense, but they have Daniel Jones as quarterback. Their O-line I don't trust Devin Singletary as a running back. Yeah, Malik Neighbors could be good, but it's just not enough.
Oh, I think he'll be good as long as you put Tommy DeVito at quarterback. You saw what Tommy DeVito, Tommy Cutlets did last year.
Hey, homeboy showed out last year. I got to give it to him. He balled out. I can't say he didn't ball. He played pretty good.
It's funny because I made a video like a year ago saying Daniel Jones was the 3rd best quarterback on his roster because Tyrod when he played was also solid. So
I've always been a Tyrod Taylor fan, so I don't know. I'm a little biased on that
I
one.
loved him from his days at VTech.
I always liked Tyrod.
I've always liked him.
Kieran, your Steelers, man. Russell Wilson. What were your thoughts, man, about Russell Wilson and Justin Fields' play?
I think a lot of it, part of it was the O-line. The O-line's still not great. Part of it is them both having terrible pocket presence at this point in their careers. I'm kind of like skeptical of the season because, yeah, George Pickens is pretty good, but besides that, the wide receivers, Jefferson's not good. Calvin Austin, like, yeah, he's a speedster, but is that really all he's going to be? Like, I'm just very nervous with the Dolphins again because Jalen Warren is supposed to miss the first week, which sucks. I'm not really high on either of them, to be honest, like at all.
My thing is for you, man. Unfortunately, with Mike Tomlin, man has never had a losing record under his watch, so tanking is going to be out the door. But even though this draft class in terms of quarterbacks may not be the best, but if you actually had a chance of getting Shedeur Sanders, hey, I wouldn't mind.
Yeah. I mean, I said last year we just should have sucked because I wanted Caleb Williams, but I knew it was going to happen.
Speaking of Caleb Williams,
yeah, I'm glad you're about to talk about him. Go ahead.
he's been looking pretty good. Did y'all
Yes.
see that throw he made to Roma Dunze?
Yeah.
Jesus Christ. Ugh.
Yeah, Caleb, if he's not a top 12 quarterback by the end of the season, I'll be shocked.
Same here. I agree. That boy's gonna be good.
No, but now listen. Was he getting kind of glazed on social media because of throws? Yeah, because
Yes.
he still has things to work on. There was a lot of 3-and-outs during those games, but
Yes.
he has all the talent in the world to not be the second best quarterback in the league. Like, he has all the talent in the world. The only knock you can really say is that his height will affect him, and I don't really think it will because he's that great of an athlete. He is that great of a thrower of the football.
Yeah,
Like,
there's between that and sometimes he does try to run around too much. He tries to make the impossible play too much when he shouldn't. When he should just probably just take what the defense is giving him. But I mean that throw to Romo Dunce, that's like if like a like we talk about floors and ceilings and all this stuff with these players. If you want to talk about a ceiling throw, that is a ceiling throw. Like that is the full capabilities of Caleb Williams as a quarterback.
really, Patrick
He
Mahomes, that throw.
like it's like you hear all the comparisons to Patrick Mahomes. That's pretty much it right there. So yeah, I have been very impressed with his play so far, and I mean and it's not only that he's got all the talent in the world to be a special player, but that offense they built for him in Chicago.
I'm talking about your boy Cole Kmet.
I've been on the Cole Kmet bandwagon since Notre Dame. That game when Notre Dame came into Athens and he destroyed us from first quarter to fourth quarter. I've been a fan of his. I've always been a fan of his. And you got him. You got DeAndre Swift in the backfield. I mean, you got Roma Dunce. You got Keenan Allen. And it's like we keep talking about
DJ
Roma
Moore.
Dunce. DJ Moore just continues to get slept on. I don't understand. The boy is good.
It's almost like he gets better every year. Like,
Yeah.
and I will say about Keenan Allen, that weight gain concerns me because I saw him on the field and he could not separate from a linebacker. So
Right.
Yeah, he's what 200. He's what 230 now.
Yeah, he's slow as shit. I'm sorry.
Yeah, he's gonna have to probably drop some weight in order for him to continue playing because as you get older, I mean you should be lighter in order to take pressure off your joints and all that other stuff.
Yeah.
But I love the ceiling for Chicago. I think they have a potential, and they had to make a serious decision about whether you draft Caleb or you continue with Justin Fields. And look, this is the second time they had the number 1 overall pick. They traded to Carolina. Carolina drafted Bryce Young over CJ Stroud. Now Chicago had the number 1 overall pick. Again, either Caleb Williams or Justin Fields. Caleb Williams received some flack because of his play last season and also of the stuff with the fingernails and things like that. But I think he'll fit in to Chicago. I think this is the best quarterback that they've had. And look, to have a quarterback like him, you've had to be subjected to bad quarterback play in Chicago, from Jay Cutler to another guy. I don't know if he played for the Chicago Bears. And BRF, you know this very well, Jeff George. Jeff George.
I believe he did at one point. Not long, but I think he did. I have to look it up. But yeah, I mean the fact that you could come out and you could arguably say he might be the most talented quarterback in the history of that franchise, and you got to go like way, way back to like the Otto Graham days. Like my goodness gracious, man! Like
it's sad because like
it is sad.
Sid Luckman is their best quarterback. He hasn't played since the 1950s. It's really concerning, and they've their quarterback history: Rex Grossman, Jay Cutler, Mitch Trubisky, just bad.
That 2017 draft, no one will forget that to this day because they had the number 2 pick. They moved up in the draft and they
to
took Mitchell
Mitch
Trubisky
Trubisky.
over Patrick Mahomes and Deshaun Watson.
So the funny thing is, when I was like 15 when that draft happened, I think. So like I was a little young guy. I didn't know much about Patrick Mahomes because I didn't watch like college that much, but I knew like he had this crazy arm and like all these gifts, but apparently his mechanics were terrible. His footwork was bad. He was just very raw. I was more
Right.
shocked that they drafted him over Deshaun Watson because Deshaun Watson came off that championship title reign with like Clemson. He was one of the best quarterbacks in the league in college. Yeah, that was a fumble on both parts. And I know back like now Deshaun Watson's bad, but looking back on it, like you probably should have taken Deshaun Watson. Like
I think
And they
Andy Reid drafted him because of the arm, because he saw the intangibles Mahomes had. Imagine if Patrick Mahomes went somewhere else and played for a big time school. And Andy Reid, man, he knows how to get it done with quarterbacks.
yeah,
And anytime whenever you're a quarterback, you're gonna be in a situation to succeed. Look at what he did with Donovan McNabb. He was drafted with the number 2 pick back in that 99 draft. He was booed, if I'm not mistaken, on draft day.
mercilessly.
You look at what he did with Michael Vick, 2010. It still pains me to this day, but the greatest Monday Night Football performance I ever saw, other than Brett Favre against the Raiders, Mike Vick, yes, the very first pass, an 88-yard bomb to Deshaun Jackson.
that's one of the most beautiful passes I've ever seen.
Oh my god, that was like me being the Falcons fan, seeing Mike Vick those first 6 years in Atlanta and his arm strength. And he never really got to truly show off his arm strength like that because they were always really a run predicated team. So him going to Philly in a more pass oriented offense, I'm like, okay, now he's finally gonna get to show his arm strength off. I'm talking about that was like the easiest 70-yard throw I've ever seen in my life. And Deshaun Jackson just gets it and just like watching that game was like watching a simulated Madden video game.
In Sports BSB, I hate to bring it up, but it got so bad that Albert Hainsworth literally was giving up on the field. He like
John Gruden called him out on that.
Yeah, it was bad. Like
it was that one. I think it was that one play where Vic was like running back and forth, and then he ultimately threw the touchdown to Jason Avant in the back. Jason Avant in the back of the end zone. You see Albert Hainsworth just get blocked and fall to the ground and just stay. Like
that's when you knew he was cooked. Like
yeah,
because like even before that, like he was not playing great either. But
oh man, don't get me started. And plus, yeah, but again, that's on Washington. They know they can't find a way to get it done right in free agency. They brought him there. That was a disaster. They brought in Josh Norman. That didn't pan out so well.
Adam Archuleta.
When we already had a safety in Ryan Clark.
Yeah.
So
and then they traded him.
Then they traded him.
Yes, they did. Yes, they did. And it doesn't make sense, but again, that's on Dan Snyder and his incompetency. Like I said before, man, other than Jim Dolan, he was the worst owner in sports. Sorry, Kieran. I know Dolan is still the owner of the Knicks, and the Knicks are in the right direction. But Snyder, I don't know. Snyder was worse than Dolan. You can make that argument.
Jim Irsay sucks. And the Panthers owner is getting up there too. He's terrible.
He is worse, and he was supposed to be the successor to the infamous owner Jerry Richardson. Yeah. And now some of the bad moves. And look, we don't want to bring Harrison on the show. God bless Harrison, great guy, but he's going through a lot right now with the Panthers organization. So hopefully things will get better. For him,
I bet you they wish he had listened to. I bet you they wish they had listened to the coach instead of the owner, because it was the owner who wanted Bryce Young, and the coach wanted C.J. Stroud. I bet you they could go back. I bet you wish they could go back and do that over again.
Yeah.
Harrison always tells me I hate TJ Watt because he ended my franchise.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. Yeah. Oh yeah. 2018. Remember the
Yeah.
Panthers,
Yeah.
Steelers.
Oh yeah,
Thursday night football?
when he hit Cam Newton and injured his shoulder and pretty much like ended his career right there.
Basically,
Yes. It was though. It was sad. It was very unfortunate. And then they had to try to move on and get other quarterbacks. They tried to bring in Sam Darnold and Baker Mayfield. And matter of fact, I said it was so bad for Sam Darnold in Carolina, they even brought back Cam
yeah.
at one point.
Yeah. Well, yeah. Sam Darnold. I don't know. Oh man.
But prayers to Sam Darnold. Hopefully he'll do something good in Minnesota.
I hope,
as you mentioned, Kieran, he's in the better situation.
I
said this before. If Sam Darnold can't do good in Minnesota, I don't know.
Hey, I hope he does good because he's got a lot of crap over recent years. So
yes, but let's do a quarterback one. Which quarterback do you trust for your future? If you had between Jordan Love or Kyler Murray, which quarterback would you want? BRF, you go first.
Ooh, oh my goodness. All right, this is what I'm gonna say. Like, if you're going by reports and everything that I've been seeing in the off season, Kyler Murray has been A1 as far as like helping other players, like the leadership and all that other stuff. Like, if you're gonna give me, if there's going to be this Kyler Murray who's coming in engaged and focused and ready to play, as good as Jordan Love was in the second half of last year, if you're giving me a choice between Jordan Love and a focused Kyler Murray, I'm taking Kyler Murray. I'm taking Kyler Murray because Kyler Murray gets a lot. He's gotten a lot of crap, and I'll say this though, deservedly so on his own accord. But at the same time, I feel like a lot of the stuff that's going on with Arizona and their franchise as a team is not all him because they're not good. Thank God they were able to get somebody like a Marvin Harrison Jr. to put with him to try to elevate the status of that franchise. But I'm taking, but like I said, if you're giving me a focus, ready to go, ready to ball, Kyler Murray, I'm taking Kyler Murray. And like I said, I get Jordan Love. It was really, really good the second half of that year. But I mean, that first half, like Champ talks about all the time, his first half was not that great. Was not great at all. And he turned it on that second half, and he led Green Bay to the divisional round. So I mean, hey, he showed up and showed out when it mattered. But yeah, a focused Kyler Murray, who's been an MVP candidate, who has taken the Arizona Cardinals to the playoffs. I mean, it's hard to overlook him when he's on his game. And it's not like he's old. He's still a young guy.
27.
So exactly, still only 27. He's still a young guy. So
he's 1 year older than Love too, so it's not like Love.
Yeah,
right, it's not that much of a difference.
Exactly. When I'm gonna take Kyler Murray just because I feel like I want to give him the benefit of the doubt, and I'm hoping he's like figuring this out as far as being the quarterback, being the face of the franchise, being the face, being the guy. I'm hoping he's really starting to figure this out. I'm gonna give him the benefit of the doubt. I would draft Kyler Murray.
Kieran?
So, as a talent, as someone who I think has a higher ceiling, I would go with Kyler. But the problem is Kyler has been injury prone for the last couple of years, and I don't know if his game is if like I'm building a team and I'm trying to like build for the long haul, I would have to go with Jordan Love in that sense. And I also think Jordan Love is very talented. I think he can get better as well. So unfortunately, Kyler's my favorite quarterback in the league, but I would have to go with Jordan Love, sadly. So
this is painful for me to say because again, Kyler Murray went to one of my favorite schools, Oklahoma, OU. And I've been critical in the past of Kyler Murray, his work ethic. When the Cardinals, when they gave him the contract, they put an independent study clause in his contract. And I've had issues with Kyler's immaturity. Kyler Murray, when healthy, has the higher upside. But I'm going to go with Jordan Love because of the situation that he's in Green Bay. Green Bay, for whatever reason, they just find a way to develop quarterbacks. Brett Favre, Aaron Rodgers. Not saying that Jordan Love is going to be Brett Favre or Aaron Rodgers, but who do I trust on having the better career? I would say Love because of the situation that he's in. Let's give some love to Matt LaFleur because he's done a really good job proving that he can coach, he can call offensive plays. Now without Aaron Rodgers, Jordan Love, he did not play well during the first half of the season. That is fair to point out. But in the second half of the season, he turned it on. And I was kind of disappointed in his performance against the 49ers. Made some mistakes with the interceptions, but I think he'll grow and learn, and deservedly so, of the contract. And the other reason why I try, we got to be consistent. If we're going to criticize Jordan Love for how bad he played during the first half of the season, we got to say the same thing with Kyler Murray during the second half of the season. Because in year 2 and in year 3, especially in year 3, to your point, BRF, Kyler Murray in the first half of that season in year 3 was the favorite for the league MVP. Unfortunately, he ended up getting hurt and then he struggled. I think now, if Kyler, if you're saying is true, and I believe every word that you're saying, if he's focused, building rapport with some of the players, especially with Marvin Harrison Jr., buying what the new coach is saying, I think this could be a good year for Kyler Murray to show everyone I'm still that guy. Despite the concerns about my size at 5'8", 5'9", 5'10", and immaturity, I am going to evolve. I'm going to get better. So I understand your point, BRF, but I'm going to go with Jordan Love because of the situation that he's in. Green Bay knows what to do with quarterbacks, and they got talent. Josh Jacobs, Romeo Dobbs, Hicks. Christian Watson, to me, is an X factor if he can stay healthy because he's explosive.
I also think Luke Musgrave, the tight end, could do
Yes.
in the slot. And another point about Kyler Murray is that he did not play well in the second half those first 2 years, but he was also hurt. The first year, shoulder injury affected his throwing motion. Clearly affected Arizona's offense in general because they went down a cliff after he got hurt. And then the second year, again, and also Diop got hurt too. You have to factor that in as well. You're relying on AJ Green and Christian Kirk, who hadn't broke out yet, and he was dealing with an ankle injury, so it limited him in the pocket, which obviously Kyler Murray is not a pocket passing quarterback, but
Right.
so
But that's why he's got to spend more time watching film, because what
true.
happens when your athleticism starts to decline, or when you don't have the athleticism anymore, there got to be other components he's got to rely upon and improve.
Oh yeah, and it's unfortunate because he's 5'10". You can argue that he has to rely on it because he can't really see over the middle of the field like other quarterbacks in the league. And that's what happened with Russ. Russ flamed out quickly, after he started getting injuries. But yeah, as PSP said, I think Jordan Love's the safer pick. He doesn't have the injury concerns. The Packers are a better organization than the Cardinals, even though the Cardinals are heading into the right direction. They drafted Marvin Harrison Jr. Trey McBride's pretty good. Michael Wilson, I think, is pretty talented. So that's there. James Conner's good. It's unfortunate because I really want to go with Kyler, but I just can't.
Yeah, I would love to go Kyler too, man, because again, OU, love me some OU, man. And I just hope that I think both of these quarterbacks are gonna do well this season.
Oh, for
I
sure.
actually have Jordan Love, other than CJ Stroud, in the conversation for the MVP.
I do.
I really do believe that.
I actually So Jordan Love, I have another guy, but I'm not going to say it because people would freak out. But
Go ahead, say it.
I got Anthony Richardson.
That's not really that
Wow.
crazy to say though. If he could stay healthy,
So like my thing about Anthony Richardson, right? Like we know the physical gets, we know the arm, know the rushing upside, but the one thing I will say is that Shane Steichen, if he can use him to his absolute best ability, why not can he like not be better than Jalen Hurts? Because he's obviously a way better athlete than Hurts was. And you also have Jonathan Taylor. That read option is going to go insane. I expect them to have a top 3 rushing game in the league, and their O-line is really good now. Like it used to be really bad. Shane Steichen and the Colts have really revamped that offensive line. The one thing I
yes,
would say that would hurt the Colts record, their secondary is awful. It's really bad. Like that's the one thing on the Colts that like is holding me back from being like one of the best teams in the league. But I got Anthony Richardson, even though I think Stroud's a good pick too because that offensive talent's insane. But I could see Anthony Richardson having like a 2019 Lamar year, in my opinion. Though.
yeah. And to your point, man. I mean, Indy, they've done their part. And look, last year, even without Anthony Richardson, they were competitive with Gardner
Exactly.
Minshew at quarterback.
Oh, they
Yeah.
barely missed the playoffs.
Yeah. Yeah, but like they were one down away from making the playoffs too.
Mm-hmm.
And they beat some legitimate teams. They even beat the Ravens last year, who went to the AFC Championship game. They almost could have beaten Cleveland.
They almost
So imagine if they had Anthony Richardson.
yeah, and they almost beat the Rams too with Anthony Richardson. And the Rams were a playoff team last year. So
Exactly.
I think honestly, with the Colts last year, and I hate sounding like a homer. The most shocking game watching them was when they played us. Like, cause
Right.
I'm not like they came to Atlanta, they were like on a roll, and I'm like, okay, I'm thinking, they're gonna come in, we might give them a good game, they're gonna get us. We absolutely just ran them off the field. I'm just like, what happened to this team that I've seen the last month? How y'all coming up in here and just laying an egg like this all of a sudden?
yeah,
Like it, yeah. That to me last year shocked me the most out the Colts because I feel like because I have the Colts. Like I said, don't be shocked. Like if the Texans found a way to slip up, it's the Indianapolis Colts. I feel that could take advantage and sneak that division away from Houston if they slip up. Because I really feel like they got it like that this year. They are a sneaky, sneaky team. I love what they've done in the offseason. It's just they have built this team up the right way. They got really good pieces in place. I really feel like they could be one of those teams like could really if the favorite doesn't win the division, a team that could slip and get it. They're one of my teams like that.
yeah.
Yeah.
And it really depends on Jonathan Taylor because he's got to stay healthy too because he's
Agreed.
like the last 2 years and we know when Jonathan Taylor's healthy, he's one of the best running backs in the league. So
Oh,
Any
bar
from
none.
Jersey.
what's up?
Any from Jersey.
Oh yeah, and
Yeah.
my best friend loves talking about him because he went to Wisco. So yeah,
Hey man, BRF. I mean, Jersey got some good football, man. You can't deny that though.
yeah.
Hell, no, I cannot deny that at all, man. Jersey put out some players.
What's up, Brandon?
Shout out to Brandon from the block. Go check out his podcast every Monday and Wednesday nights. Monday for football, Wednesday for basketball. All right, folks. Let's get into some entertainment. Wrestling. Something that we all love.
Yes, sir.
Kieran, you go first. Favorite Kurt Angle moment.
Oh man, I got so many because he's my favorite wrestler ever. So, but the one for me, it's when he came out of the milk cart and
Stole my idea.
yeah, like Milkomania is running wild. He pours it all over Austin, and then he gets on the milk cart and starts pouring it like on his face. That is one of my favorite Kurt Angle moments. And I got another one, the sexy Kurt. Like, who doesn't love that? Sensational Jerry. He comes down in Shawn Michaels trunks. It's awesome. Like, I'm like, I really wish I was born in like 95 because I could have saw his entire prime. I actually had to go watch back Kurt Angle, but I'm glad I did because he's so entertaining. He's so funny. Like, and he's, in my opinion, besides Sean, probably the greatest talent in ring ever. So, yeah, I got a lot of respect for Kurt Angle. So,
well, indeed, man. BRF.
Dude, it's still it's the as a wrestling fan, even though I don't necessarily care about the whole 3-star, 4-star, 5-star ratings and all that stuff, it still pisses me off as a wrestling fan to know that Dave Meltzer thinks Kurt Angle has never had a 5-star match. And I'm like, are you kidding me?
Who
His
said
match at
that?
Wrestle Dave Meltzer has never given Kurt Angle a 5-star rating on any of his matches.
Oh,
yeah. I don't care what he says. Shawn Michaels and Kurt Angle,
WrestleMania 21.
that's the top 5 match ever, in my opinion.
Bro. That alone was a 5-star match, and
Kurt
then
Angle,
and then
No Way Out, 06.
him and the Undertaker.
Yeah.
Oh my God, facts. And then like his TNA run, like his TNA run, the lockdown match with Samoa Joe when Samoa Joe finally won the TNA World Heavyweight title. I mean, like but since we're talking about moments, my favorite Kurt Angle moment, and it's an underrated moment, was let me tell you some ruthless aggression. Kurt Angle was some of the funniest crap I've ever seen in my life. And one moment in particular was when John Cena was heel and he was feuding with John Cena. And he came out, they were in Jacksonville, and he came out with the visor turned to the side, with the Mark Brunel jersey on, with the shorts on, doing his best John Cena impersonation at the time because John Cena was in his basic thugonomics mode at the time. And he comes out and he cuts that rap. He has Brian Hebner doing the beatbox because he was reffing at the time for him. He's doing the beatbox in the background. Kurt looks at him like, "Oh, you remind me of that dude from Police Academy." Like, and he cuts that rap, and I'm just like, dude, Kurt for me is one of the most, his balance in terms of his entertainment and his wrestling to basically pick up on the business as quick as he did and to become as good as he was, not only in wrestling but with the entertainment side. I feel like he's one of the greatest at being able to just balance both ends of the spectrum as far as being entertaining and silly. But then when it's come time to get in the ring, in my opinion, I think he's the greatest. In my opinion, Kurt Angle is the greatest bell to bell wrestler I have ever seen. Ever seen. Like, I don't think in terms of just sheer intensity and still being able to understand psychology, knowing what moves to hit at the right time, knowing to get the response from the crowd at the right time. In my opinion, there's never been a better bell to bell wrestler than him. But that moment with John Cena stands out because that was just so it was just so funny and trying to hit that for me it was just the rap. And I can't remember all the lines, and I know some of the lines I really don't need to repeat, but still it was so funny. It was so funny. Every time I see it on YouTube, you can't help but laugh. It was just hilarious. I recommend anybody, if you're watching this, pull up Kurt Angle impersonating John Cena. I swear to God, you will laugh your butt off.
It's like also funny about Kurt Angle. Like, I think in his prime, I rarely see him. Like, he never really had a bad match. Like,
He never did. He
like,
was and also too former Olympic gold medalist.
yeah. My dad talks about it all the time. He watched that match like live. He was like, "Holy crap, this guy's insane."
My favorite Kurt Angle, there are a lot of great Kurt Angle moments, but the rivalry between he and the late great Eddie Guerrero. They put out some great matches. WrestleMania 20. That was a great one between he and Eddie, especially at the end in which Eddie cheated him by fooling him with the boot. Then
Forgot about
SummerSlam
that.
2004. That was another great one as well. Kurt Angle, the general manager, Kurt Angle, though, I kind of like general manager Kurt Angle. The one crazy thing that he did, though, do you remember when Big Show came back to the WWE in 2004? And then during a match between Big Show and Eddie Guerrero versus Kurt Angle and Luther Reigns, during that match, Kurt Angle pulls out a gun and then shoots Big Show in the back with a tranquilizer dart and then shaves Big Show's head.
I remember. Yeah,
I remember that.
yeah.
I remember that. Yes. Oh my goodness, Kurt Angle, boy, Kurt Angle for me, like he was a really good babyface, but when you asked him to play a
He
heel,
was a heel.
he was a way better heel, and that's saying something because he was a really good babyface.
Yeah.
It's unfortunate. Like the only thing that's really missing for Kurt Angle is the draw power. Like he doesn't have a draw power like Cena, but he can literally play every role and he's gonna succeed at it. Like
He was better as a heel, in my opinion, than a babyface.
He was. I agree. He definitely was.
probably has the greatest rookie year ever too.
He did actually. Matter of fact, our boy Trey even said it right here. Kurt Angle had greatest rookie year of all time.
Yeah.
So you can
You
make
can't.
that.
I like. I would go. I would go either him. Okay, if my top three rookie years of all time, men or woman, are him, Brock, and Ronda Rousey.
Mm.
I was gonna say Sheamus, but yeah. Like
And oh yeah, Sheamus is up there too, winning the WWE title as quick as he did. Yeah, he's up there too.
Yeah, definitely. We got our man High Take Kenny Dior. Go check out his podcast. What's up, Kenny? How you
What's
doing,
up,
man?
man? What's good, man? What's good? Out
stuff.
here
Good, man.
enjoying the
Hey,
food in the city.
what's good with you, Kenny?
What's good?
We just discussing favorite Kurt Angle moment before we finish the last topic with favorite Chris Brown track. But do you have any Kurt Angle moment that comes to your mind?
When Big Show chokeslammed that man off that shit on top of the thing, and then like
Oh,
his head just was like bleeding everywhere. And then any moment from the Perk Angle moments, man. Perk Angle was one of the most elite Kurt Angles ever. So it's like so many. But when Perk Angle mode came, man, y'all didn't want to see that, man.
mm-hmm. But to Kenny's point, BRF, he was better as a heel. Kenny, do you remember when Kurt Angle shot Big Show from the back with the tranquilizer dart?
Man, I be watching that video damn near twice a week. Man, that was my whole childhood, bro. I didn't know you could do that. Like I don't know how Vince pulled that off.
That was crazy though. That was
That,
crazy.
that was wild.
It was. All right, Kenny. Last topic. The floor is yours. Favorite Chris Brown track and your thoughts on why Chris Brown, in your opinion, is the GOAT.
Okay. Um. So one, I don't think he's the GOAT. I think, well, me personally, like you can say he is, but like I just think like the three locks are Mike, Beyonce, and Chris. I just feel like when we talk about talent, the albums, and if you want to bring up numbers, fine. But I think Chris also has the numbers that Beyonce or Michael Jackson have never, what I'm saying, broke before. Also, what's the name? If we're talking about my favorite Chris Brown song, it's so many. Cause, but if I had to choose one that sticks with me forever, it's either don't judge me or right. Okay, I'm gonna do this. I'm going to name you my all time favorite. I'm gonna name you my favorite song right now. So my favorite song right now by him is Stutter, and that's on 1111. And my all time favorite Chris Brown song is, man, you can't go wrong with Deuces, man.
Okay.
To me, that when you sing deuces, especially when you leaving a girl, bro, and you find you another girl, that tells you all, man.
Kieran.
So I love Chris Brown.
He's very entertaining. I think he's a very good dancer and all that stuff. Very good entertainer. I saw him live once, a long time ago. But Forever's just a good song, man. It's so good. It's like it's very catchy. Um, it feels like I'm in another universe when I'm listening to it. Like I feel so happy when I listen to it. I gotta go with Forever, man.
I just want to say this to my future wife: when we get married, you coming down the aisle to Forever, just to let you know.
That's a great
Bro,
song.
I
That's a
would do
great
this.
song for the
No,
wedding.
Kenny, I would do the same thing.
Yeah.
That's what I'm saying. You come down the aisle to that, and you're gonna just have to deal with it.
BRF.
Bro, Chris Brown. Chris Brown is a Chris Brown. I'm gonna be God honest with you. Chris Brown is in my top 5 favorite artists of all time. He's in my top 5 favorite artists of all time. Like, and he's like and he's like a different breed too. Like he combines like so much from like all of the artists that we grew up on to listen, and he's just like he's like his own person. I got to give him props, especially with all the trials and tribulation that he's gone through, to be able to pull it back and to have the career he's had. I mean, shout out to him. Whether you agree with some of the stuff he's done, that's not the point. The point is the man is one of the greatest to do it. I have so many favorite really good Chris Brown songs that I love, like off of, like the first album when he was still like teenage years, just killing the game. Like, excuse me, Miz, popping, give me that. Just oh my gosh, run it. Just so I mean, just that whole first album is goated. I don't care what anybody says. That first album's goated. And if I have to pick, if oh gosh, if you got to put me on the spot for one Chris Brown Chris Brown song, my all time favorite. Gosh, it's hard because I have so many
I
good
get
ones.
it, bro. Trust me, it's so
Yeah,
many, bro.
bro. Yeah, Kenny, bro. I got so many that I love from that dude. He is about as close to a perfect artist as you can get. The dude is really that good. Um, if you had to put me on the spot and I got to pick one that I can just like, if I could only just have one Chris Brown song from his catalog, and if I can only put one in his playlist, it's probably it's probably Grass Ain't Greener.
Mm.
Nah, that is a really good one. I got
That
that's
is
one of his most underrated songs.
That's one of his. It is. That's one of his most underrated songs, and especially like how Kenny was talking about like deuces and how he gets you a new woman. Like if you've been in a situation where like you with a girl and she might not necessarily appreciate you, and then she just move on from you thinking that she can do better, and then come to find out she ain't really hitting on it like she thought she would. That is the perfect mood. That is the perfect song to play to bring your mood back up. Because I mean, come on, grass ain't green on the other side.
Hmm.
so I mean, yeah, that from if I, one just to ride. If I can only take one and put in like a capsule of like my favorite songs from all my favorite artists, grass ain't greener would probably be it for me for him.
And also, I also want to address the other part where PSP asked me why do I think Chris is the GOAT. Um, well, in many reasons, in my opinion, I think Chris is the most versatile artist ever. Um, because when I talk about artists, I just go off pure talent, and I think like to me, Chris is the most talented artist I've ever seen in my life. The dancing
All right.
ability for him to go into like multiple genres of music, like the Latin, the R&B, the pop, the hip hop, trap. Like Chris has gone into multiple genres of music, and you know, and then he has a song. My bad, did I cut out?
Yeah,
Yeah, a little bit.
a little bit,
But
but
yeah,
continue, man.
my bad. As I was saying, but like, nah, he has like the songs and the catalog to back it up. So
I just think
nah, I just think like, and then we were going off albums between Chris and Michael. It's like if you actually like study their albums, it goes either way, because people forget like Michael Jackson didn't have his first breakout album till Off the Wall. Like there were like four other albums that he had that weren't good before that.
with Michael Jackson, like when people bring up numbers and stuff, like it's really that like Michael Jackson came first before Chris Brown, so like obviously he's gonna be like more popularized than a guy like Chris Brown. But like I think if like Chris Brown was back then, he would probably be more popular than Michael Jackson because just
I
having
don't know about that. I don't know about that one. I don't know about that one. I don't know about that one because you
I
gotta.
wouldn't go. Listen, I wouldn't go that
And I
far.
don't. It's not ridiculous, but you got to think. You got to think about the aura of Mike too. Like
no,
Mike would
I
come.
know, I
Mike,
know.
you know, what I'm saying Mike would come out on the stage. Mike wouldn't say a word. The minute you saw Michael Jackson, you would see people in the crowd passing out, falling out, having to carry them out of the concert, just done because they're just so excited to see him. And that's why it's just like
You gotta understand, bro. Times was just different though compared to what it is now. And
That's
trust me,
that.
true.
I've been listen. I've been to a Chris Brown concert. I've seen multiple women pass out at his concerts, bro. Like it would be like bro, like there was a girl. She was like sitting right in front of me, passed out when this nigga was singing "Grass Ain't Greener on the Other Side." And it crazy. That's the song you just named too. So
Well, but then also you got to think this was, and the thing is like with Mike, it was like well before we even gave a crap about like social media and stuff like that at a time. So just like a lot of that was like there wasn't like the downloads and all this other stuff. It's like if you want his music, you had to go buy the album. You had to spend the money to buy the album, and then like he would just like he would just go all over the world and just filling out like every possible arena he went on in. And it's just, I think this is what I'll say. The Michael you want to like from a sports perspective, you want to know what the Michael Jackson Chris Brown debate reminds me of, and I hate to say it, but
Oh,
there's definitely validity to it. It's Michael Jordan and LeBron James.
yeah, I guess.
Like
I gotta hear that. But I ain't gonna lie, that's
like
not crazy because
this,
like the
yeah,
list of
because
BRF. I
because
just want to add on to this.
no,
I
go
think they
ahead.
were talking about music, like, and somebody said this to me earlier. They said Michael Jackson was Michael Jordan, LeBron. I said Chris Brown was LeBron, and Usher was Kobe. And I think that's that's
That's
perfect.
perfect.
That's
That's
perfect.
perfect.
That's perfect for
That is
sure.
perfect. That is
Mike,
perfect. Yeah, because when you look at it like this, I feel like if you're looking at it from in my opinion from a sports perspective, I feel like Michael Jordan is the greatest to do it. But I'll say from a standpoint of LeBron James, he's the most. I feel like he is the most talented basketball player to ever lace up a pair of sneakers. Like I feel like Michael Jackson is still the GOAT entertainer for me, but in terms of like the versatility, I feel like Chris Brown might be the most talented artist to ever do it. Like I mean, that's just how it's like. That's why the debate kind of reminds me of that for me because there's so many similarities in it in terms of like what Michael Jackson did in his time and then what Chris Brown is currently doing at his time. Because I mean, to be as versatile he is, be able to rap, to be as good of a rapper as he is, and then on top of that, to be able to sing the way he does, and like what Kenny said, being able to flow in different genres of music and kill it in everything you do. I mean, you can't. I mean, as much as I loved Michael Jackson growing up, you can't take away from the work that Chris Brown is putting in, and he's still a young dude. He's still a young dude. He's still in his
not
early.
even 40.
He's
Not even
still in the,
40.
yeah.
He's 35 years old.
Yeah,
35
he's still.
years
Yeah, you might as well say he's still in his early mid-30s. He's still got a long way to go.
I mean, Michael Jackson really got. Well, when did he get popular? Like his mid-30s, or no? He was always popular, but like he didn't become the next
Thriller
part.
came out at what, 84, I think.
Yeah,
Yeah,
so he was like,
So he was 26 at the time, 25, 26.
oh, okay. I thought, yeah, okay, yeah. It's like he still had the Jackson 5 like before that and all that stuff.
Oh
so,
yeah, you can't forget that. You can't
like,
forget.
I mean, like young Mike was entertaining too. Like he always had the talent. Like, yeah,
I think for me with Mike is he's got like so many songs that have just withstood the test of time that still hit to this day. And I feel like Chris Brown is starting to really hit that level of aura in his music. He's gonna have a bunch of music that's gonna be able to withstand the test of time because the dude is just that good.
Yeah,
like
look,
you guys,
I also wanted to add on to this. Like when we talk about Michael Jackson and like and with all these artists, and I want you to clip this PSP. It's like I understand it's Michael Jackson, but like people have to understand, like a lot of people do a lot of things better than Michael Jackson. Like me, in my personal opinion, like if we're just talking about like singing, I don't think Michael Jackson is a top 10 singer. Like in terms of singing, like vocals, I don't lead like to me. Michael doesn't have that when we're talking about vocal ability. Same with Chris. I don't think Chris is like a is like that is like a great vocalist, but they're like. But the thing is with Mike and Chris,
Their
like
versatility.
they yeah they have the versatility. They can go into multiple genres of music. But you know what I'm saying. So it's like they don't have to be vocally great, but they can still go into multiple genres of music, which makes them so great. Um. And also, and I told you before, the gap between Chris Brown, Michael Jackson, and Beyonce is not that far off. And I'm gonna tell you why. When it comes to albums, and singing, Beyonce has that over Michael Jackson and Chris Brown, and that's just facts. Beyonce has that over both of them. Like I understand Thriller, Off the Wall, Bad, and all that other shit, but Beyonce has never had a bad album in her whole career. And I love Chris Brown and I love Michael Jackson, but it's just facts. Beyonce doesn't have one bad album. Actually, I take that back. She has one. But other than that, Michael Jackson and Chris, they have like maybe like one or two bad albums. But Beyonce, she only got like one bad album.
Chris, I
Um,
think his worst album, I think it was Graffiti back in '09.
yes, yes.
Yeah,
I didn't
Yeah,
think Graffiti was a good album.
I refuse to listen to that again after I heard it.
I think '09, because remember the negative press that he received that year, that also played a factor. So,
Yeah.
Yeah. And I also want to say this: performing and dancing, I think Michael was a better like. I don't know. It's kind of weird to explain it. I think Chris was a better dancer. Um, from a vocal standpoint, when we're talking about performing, I would have to give that to Beyonce. But just overall performing, man, I ain't gonna lie. I think Beyonce low-key surpassed Michael Jackson when we're talking about performing. Because when we're talking about somebody who's dancing and somebody from singing from the mic from top to bottom on the show, Beyonce goes all in. Like you could literally look at all these clips on YouTube. Like Beyonce, the mic is always on and she's always singing.
Yeah.
So that's why I feel like Beyonce is the greatest of all time. She has the albums. She has a vocal, like she's a top 10 singer ever. And then what I'm saying, she just has the resume, bro. The albums, the talent, she has all that. But I
So
still but I still think Chris, Mike, and Beyonce is still a debate. Like you can really go either way.
like my thing is that I always say this about music, it's so subjective. I usually go with the person I just like more because like that's how I really rate music. Um Personally, out of the three, I like Michael the best. I'd probably say Chris Brown is two, and then Beyonce's three. Because I haven't like listened to a lot of Beyonce. Then you guys realize I listen to Chris Brown and Michael Jackson more. So
you
I
gotta
probably
go to their concert.
yeah
I was
Uh,
there. I was there at that concert in New Orleans, and let me tell you something. I'm not the biggest Beyonce fan, but that concert was
bro,
amazing.
I'm telling you, like Beyonce is one of the greatest performers I've ever seen. Period. So it's
I,
like
I'm not
I'll never take that away from her.
I'm not denying that. But like I said, like I personally just like Michael Jackson's like songs more, and that's just like personally off like
But
subjective.
that's the thing. That's your opinion. It's like a lot of people have their own opinion when it comes to music. The music is all opinionated. It's not like what I'm saying. That's why I hate when we talk about numbers. Like they say, who do they say? They say Michael Jackson is a GOAT, but the Beatles are like they have the highest like sales ever. So it's
Oh
like
yeah,
are the Beatles better than Michael Jackson, or would you put the Beatles up from Michael Jackson?
I mean
no,
no, I
But
would say
that's like saying Bill Russell is a better basketball player than Michael Jordan because he
That's what
has
I'm
more
saying. That's
rings.
what I'm saying. So that's why
yeah
I'd be like, when people just go off numbers, in my opinion, I think it's just the stupidest argument ever. Cause
I think
like,
yeah
go ahead, Karen.
like I mean I'm pretty sure Elvis's numbers are up there, but no one's putting Elvis in like top four debates really.
Oh
Like
no, Elvis is the most overrated artist of all time. Him and Madonna. I'll die on that. Elvis is overrated as shit. Elvis has stolen a lot of these artists' flows, and like he's just not talented in no ways. Like
damn.
I never understood the hype with Elvis. Like I don't understand why his fan base think this dude is like an amazing artist. Like he's not good. He's not. He sounds horrible.
For me, with Chris Brown checks, for me, Kieran stole Forever. I was gonna bring up Forever. No BS. I love No BS.
W.
I,
W.
This is a
yes.
funny one that I love. I love this song. It's a freaky one though. Take It Down.
Oh God.
Dub,
You know what my second
dub.
option was, PSP?
What? What?
My second option was with you. And
Yeah,
look,
that
when
was
I
a
was
good
at the
one too.
concert, man, when I was at the concert and when he played with you, I damn near was gonna cry. I was gonna cry.
So I think Take It Down is good. It's just a little too freaky for me. But hey. I'm not taking anything away from the song, but
Our guy Trey.
That song will come through for you in the clutch when you need it.
Yes, it will. It definitely
I
will.
play Take You Down. That is a hell of a track. That is
That
a
is
hell.
Hey
Take
man,
You
look.
Down is one of those songs I like to call clutch records. That is a clutch record.
Hey
But
look.
from his
Hey look.
album, from his debut album, I love Winner. Winner. The Winner song.
Another underrated song by him, Ain't No Way. That is a very, very underrated Chris Brown song. And also,
Mhm.
look, PSP and BRF. I'm gonna give you some homework. I'm gonna give you a mixtape. It's called Before the Party. I want you to listen to Beat It Up and Hell of a Night. To me, Beat It Up is the best song on the whole album. And also another song, Won't Change. To me, like here's the thing. If he made that into an album, I felt like that would have been another Chris Brown album. I mean, another Chris Brown album that would have been a classic, easy. Because I think in 2015 he dropped Royalty, and mind you, Royalty is a good project, but it's not better than Before the Party. So go listen to those three songs. Go listen to Before the Party. I'm telling you, you gonna mess with it.
All right. But
All right. I'm gonna have to check that out.
I like
For sure.
All About You. I think that song's really good.
I do love the one, although it's not his song, but the feature "No Air" with Jordan Sparks. That's a
No
good one.
Air for sure, for sure.
Oh, that's a
You want to talk about
win. Yeah.
Hey, you want to talk about vocals? Jordan Sparks is up there, man. Like she's got some.
Oh man, there was a they posted a clip on TikTok where he was doing a concert and he was actually performing that song and Jordan Sparks was in the crowd singing the
Singing, yeah.
song.
Yeah.
That was crazy. That was crazy.
And our boy Trey, he mentioned a great track, "Say Goodbye." That was actually a good one right there, the "Say Goodbye" one, because of the breakup one. But anyway, folks,
Oh,
that concludes the rest of the Sports PSP podcast. Appreciate Hot Take Kenny, Kieran, BRF Sports for hopping on. Hopefully, we'll try to get Undisputed World Champ back on next week. But fellas, any final comments? Tell them where to follow y'all at.
Hey man, Chris Brown is the GOAT, you know what I'm saying? But anyways, man, go follow my YouTube channel, Kenny Dior. We talk about music and all that other stuff, but mainly music. Go follow me on Instagram, Kenny Dior. Same with TikTok, Twitter also. And yeah, I'm gonna be bringing more music content to you, man. I just dropped a video. Is Taylor Swift the closest thing to Rihanna, or are they on the same like tier when it comes to talent? So go check that video up, man. And I also dropped a video on my turn versus please excuse me for being antisocial. The videos on my Instagram. So go check that out, y'all. Thank you for having me on the show, PSP.
Anytime. Kieran.
Thank you for letting me on the show. Where to follow me? Kieran Talk Sports on TikTok. Trying to get to 10K hopefully soon. And I'll say a music take. Jordan Sparks is underrated in my opinion. It's like just an artist in general. Her first album is really good. Go check it out. But anyway, yeah, love talking about sports with Kenny. You know, he's hot take. BRF is always nice to talk to. Sports BSP. The dedication you have, it's really inspiring. So, yeah, keep doing what you do, man. Appreciate it.
Thank you. BRF.
yeah. Man, as hey PSP man, I love hopping on this with you, man. And I kind of hate I didn't have my fellow 706 brother with me, champ. But at the same time, hey, he's at the Falcons game. I don't think they were doing too good, but I mean, hell, it's preseason. Honestly, I don't think we're really too worried too much about the preseason right now. But yeah, just BRS Sports, like I say, is the TikTok handle. Follow me, IG, my Twitter /X, Facebook. I got a Facebook page, and like I said, I got a Discord as well. If y'all want to click the link tree in my bio, my Discord link's on there. It's an active link. Feel free to join and hop in and talk with me. I'm trying to get a little more I'm trying to get a little more content going. I got a couple of videos going right now, doing okay in views. I'm trying to get a little more baseball content out there. I know football season about to get going. I'm about to get that popping off as well. Also, if college football starting up next week, I want to try to get into more college football content as well. If you follow the undisputed GOAT Sports Podcast with myself, Champ, as well as Flash 22, we're gonna be back at our regular Eastern time. So definitely come and follow your boys on YouTube. We're doing some real, and Champ is busting his tail, making that podcast something special. And me and Flash, we just trying to best of our abilities. So please follow that please follow our sports podcast. And like I always say, a topic not thought about is a topic not talked about. Y'all holla at your boy. We go PSP. It's always a pleasure getting on here with you. Shout out to Kenny. Shout out to Karen. Y'all boys keep doing your thing, man. I'm proud of y'all of what y'all do as well, man. Y'all keep up the good work.
All right. Always a pleasure having y'all on the pod. As y'all know, Sports PSP podcast over 12,000 subscribers. Hopefully we'll try to get 13 by the end of next week. Last week's episode, almost 500 views. Just keep doing great work. Keep doing great content. Y'all know where to follow me at, folks. Like and subscribe to the YouTube channel, as well as IG Sports PSP, TikTok Sports PSP3. Fellas, y'all enjoy the rest of y'all weekend. Y'all be safe. Y'all take it easy. And for the audience out there tuning in, appreciate y'all for watching the pod. Please go like and subscribe. And we is out.